Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Campbell, Associate Director of Content Marketing at Siege. And today I'll be talking to you all about how to increase the productivity of your content marketing team. At Siege, we've had the pleasure of working with over 50 content marketing specialists through the years, and we've learned a lot about how to improve team morale and get some really great results as well. So my first tip is for training your content marketing team to learn new content formats quickly. This is something that we encounter a lot because our team members are working on new content formats and industries regularly. And so we really recommend providing helpful examples to team members of new content. And so they have really clear examples of what works right out the gate. We also love to provide shadow sessions with a more senior team member matched with someone who's maybe learning a new format. And this helps when you're trying to train someone on data studies or surveys, content formats that tend to be a little bit trickier and where you really want to have some senior experience and guidance to help train someone new up to speed. Additionally, we try to teach scalable creativity at Siege, which I think really just helps to constantly help your team continue to innovate and push the needle forward with content creation. So to do this, we focus on the success method, which is a format that we use to ensure that our content is shareable and innovative and creative. So my tip for this is to encourage your team to use this format when writing content and also when self-editing and reviewing. And so what I like to recommend is using the different letters kind of to self-edit. And so I'll ask my team, is this tip unexpected, which is the U in the success model? Or are we telling a clear story, which is one of the S's? And we just typically find that the more that you're able to check off these different boxes of the success method, the more likely you are to create something that performs strongly and does well for your client's brand. Additionally, we like to use different tools like Ahrefs Content Explorer, Bazumo, and Pinterest to see what's working for others who are creating content on similar topics. And so, it's great to look at the SERP and see what's ranking for your topic, but we find that it can also help to use these different tools that will organize the content not only by linking root domain total number, but also social shares. And you're more likely to uncover pieces of content that are doing unique things. Sometimes when you look at the SERP, you might see that all the articles look really similar and are very formulaic. And we find that using these tools helps you uncover interesting nuggets or different information that can be helpful to work into your piece to truly help it stand out. And then additionally, we love to reflect on our learnings. So month over month, we'll meet as a broader team and get together, talk about what worked for the content creation of the past month or so and what we can learn from maybe things that performed not as strongly as we were hoping. And this is a great way to hear some big takeaways from the team, as well as smaller micro tips like a search string that we could ideate around or different tips for brainstorming creative content. So I'd really recommend encouraging your team to not be siloed, but to come together as a broader group and talk about what they've been learning recently. So next, I will talk about the outreach side of things and how you can improve productivity for your link building team. And we know that outreach can be a little bit grueling at times. So we've learned some really awesome tips to kind of keep morale high and help people focus on the positive and get those results for their teams. So my first tip is to encourage your team to prioritize conversions over total volume of emails sent. And one thing that we used to focus on in the early days of Siege was everybody's got to hit 100 emails per project per week. And we just found that holding the team to a more rigid metric didn't foster as much creativity. And since then, we've shifted our thinking to focus more on conversion rate and how many emails will we need to send to hit our link goals or hit the cost per link we're looking for? And we found that this shift has been a game changer in helping people feel confident hitting those goals and also just keeping morale high. The one caveat of this is we do recommend that more junior team members focus on hitting that volume first, just because they're learning. And we find that it's easier to test what's working and learn maybe what's not working so that you can more quickly pick up outreach as a new hire on our team. Additionally, we really love celebrating wins and the positives that we're seeing in the outreach side of things. So something that I love that our team does is Instagram shout outs, where each month we will highlight a team member, actually a handful of team members that are doing really great link building, and maybe they earned a really high DA placement or a high volume of links. And we give them that social media shout out to get the whole team excited and really kind of boost morale that way as well. Finally, love to always send through one-off client emails when we got a really great placement, because we find that not only does that make the client excited, but it also makes our own team excited to kind of foster that positivity across both groups and celebrate what's working. On the flip side, it's important to note that not every outreach project will be a slam dunk. And when we find that something doesn't go as well as we hoped it did, I always recommend that we do what we call post-mortem docs. So we'll encourage the team to go into BuzzStream and look at the project they promoted, check the click-through rates, check how many people opened the email, and kind of just look at responses at a high level and see if there are any trends. And this is a super quick exercise, maybe takes 20 to 30 minutes, but it can foster a dialogue between maybe the manager on the team and the specialist who promoted the project, and kind of helps us all come together and see if there are any higher level takeaways, so that going forward, we're able to not make the same mistakes and kind of learn from what didn't work this round. Thanks again for tuning in to learn a little bit more about how to increase the productivity of your content marketing team. I hope these tips can be helpful, not just for improving morale with your own team, but also make a bigger impact on your business as a whole. If you all have tips for what's worked for your team to improve productivity, we would love to hear, so please drop a comment below. Thank you.